Hello guys, in this video we shall study about the poem Ode to the West Wind composed by P.B. Shelley. First of all, introduction to the poem. Ode to the West Wind, published in 1820, is perhaps the greatest of all Shelley's lyrics. It is a lyric of great complexity. The natural pattern of leaf could wave, developed in the first three stanzas, anticipates the poet's identification with the unseen but deeply felt presence of the west wind. The individual merges with general. The poem reaches its climax in the stanza 5. Be thou spirit fires my spirit, be thou me impetuous one. It is one of the best lyrics of Shelley. It presents Shelley as the poet of nature, singer of endless sorrow, and the prophet. In the first three sections of the poem is vividly shows its activities on land, in the sky, and in the sea. In the fourth section, the poet identifies himself with the west winds, which makes ground for a new revolution. He hopes to bring about a new social order with the help of the west, hopes to bring about a new social order with the help of the west wind. His verse sweeps along with the rush of the wind. The metaphor succeeds metaphor and simile after simile with a wild rapidity. The poem is an ode composed in the Italian verse from called Tarja Rima. Each stanza is planned like a sonnet, contains 14 lines. The lines are iambic pentameters. This poem is one of Shelley's greatest achievements and has a deep human and political interest. He composed this poem after he left England forever, and he had been refused the guardianship of his own children from the first wife. Moreover, his ambition to regenerate the society was not fulfilled. Naturally, he was feeling much depressed and had no peace of mind. This poem embodies his revolutionary and reformist zeal, his lofty idealism, and invincible optimism despite the crushing circumstance of his life. It is indisputably the greatest ode in English poetry. The west wind is the symbol of force and power. The poem embraces within its vast sweep and whole universe the earth, the sky, and the ocean, then for a time concentrating upon the poet's own personality, it reaches out to the whole mankind. Now, the summary of the poem. The poem Ode to the West Wind was written in woods near Florence on a day when the west wind was both mild and animating. First of all, the effect on the earth of west wind. The poem begins with the effect of the west wind on earth, the twofold character, destroyer as well as preserver, has been described. It drives away the dead leaves just as a magician drives the ghosts and is thus a great destroyer. It also drives the seeds and buries them under the earth, where they lie protected all through winter like a dead body in the grave. The sprout in spring, filling the whole earth with new life. Second, their influence on the sky. The poet next describes the disturbance caused by the west wind when it sweeps through the sky. The loose clouds are the leaves of a huge tree of ocean and sky and are shaken by the west wind just as it scatters the dead leaves on the earth. These clouds are the messenger of the rain and lightning and are the looks of approaching storm. These clouds get scattered over the blue surface of the sky and look like the bright hair uplifted from the head of some fierce Minette, the female worshipper of Bacchus, the god of wine. The poet looks upon the becoming clouds like the funeral procession of the old year which is dead. The west wind sings a mournful song at the death of the old year which is buried in the vast sepulchral dome of mighty vapors out which black rain, fire, and hail will burst. Next, the impact on the ocean. In the third stanza, the effect of the west wind on the blue Mediterranean Sea is described. The sea is calm and it appears to be sleeping, lulled by the gentle motion of its currents. It is dreaming of its places and towers, which once stood on its shores but which are now underwater. Under the water of the sea and on its bed, there is green moss and wild flowers. They are so sweet and fragrant that the poet fails to describe them fully. When it blows over the Atlantic Ocean, the waves cleave the surface to make furrows for the west wind to pass. The submarine vegetation gets equally affected. The trees at the bottom of the sea start trembling at the sound of its approach and shed their leaves out of fear. Now, appeal to the west wind. In the fourth stanza, Shelley addresses his prayer to the west wind. Enthralled by the swiftness and strength of the wind, he wishes to be lifted and borne on the river to its strength. He has grown weak and feels this life a burden on him as he expresses in this line. And the line is like this: I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed. This is an outpouring of his anguish and suffering, the torture borne by the spiritual idealist in a world of indifference. In his boyhood, he was tameless, swift, uncontrollable, and proud like the west wind. But time has changed and bowed his spirit. He is in sore need of strength. So he is very eager to share the impulse of the west wind and appeal to it to lift him as a wave, a leaf, and a cloud. Last, the message of hope, invincible optimism. At the end of in the end from his personal self, he passes on to the universe. He seeks a complete merging of his spirit in the spirit of the west wind. He appeals to the west wind to make him its lawyer just as the forest is. He wants to get rid of his dead thoughts because only then new thoughts can arise in him. He has a message of hope for mankind and requests the west wind to spread it in the whole of the world. Just like ashes and sparks are scattered from the fireplace, which has not been extinguished as yet. Perhaps it may bring about the regeneration of human face. The message he likes to convey to the suffering mankind is: if winter comes, can spring be far behind? The optimistic message, no doubt, is the mighty prophecy of hope and faith in the triumph of love and spirit over tyranny and forces of darkness. This prophecy is a message to man of the rebirth of soul. So guys, this is a wonderful poem composed by Percy Bysshe Shelley, a romantic poet, and he expresses his inner thoughts to change the society and rules that has forced the man to uh, lead a painful life. This is a very wonderful and heart touching, appealing poem, and this is the summary and introduction to the poem. Thank you.